A problem that I keep reading about on these Powerstroke 6.0s is a dead accelerator pedal. So just to be clear, we're not talking about low power or lack of power. We're talking about a completely dead accelerator pedal. When I first bought this Excursion, within the first week or two, I experienced this. You'd be sitting at a light, everything's running great, light turns green, you hit the accelerator pedal and absolutely nothing happens. It just continued to idle. I took it to the dealership because I didn't know anything about working on diesels. The only code that they could pull was for an EGR valve. So I said, great, go ahead. About $1,800 later for that little piece of it, and a total bill of $3,300 just because they wanted to do some other stuff while we were in there. I had the exact same problem driving home from the dealership. They couldn't figure it out. The weekend was coming up, so I took it home and ended up fixing it myself for $0. So if you're having this problem, I just want to give you 4 or 5 things that you can check on your Powerstroke 6.0 before you go spending a lot of money. Most things we're going to be checking are connections to sensors under the hood, but there is one thing that we can go ahead and check inside the truck here, and that is, let's go up under the dash and just check our accelerator pedal and make sure everything looks like it's hooked up correctly. So we're going to go up under the dash here on the driver's side and look at this accelerator pedal. Like most modern cars, your accelerator pedal is just hooked up to a sensor that is connected right here. This whole assembly, if you have a robust scan tool, you can hook up and scan this pedal and its operation. So if you do this and command to look at the pedal operation, you'll see that there are redundant sensors built inside here that should be showing a change in voltage. But for the moment, we're just going to check this connector, which looks like it's the only one. The bad news is this part's been discontinued by Ford, and when it was available, it was really expensive. On an Eddie Bauer version in your upper trim levels, these pedals are adjustable back and forth, which made it a very expensive part. So as far as this goes, if this connector looks good and tight, you can wiggle these wires around, see if anything feels off here. You can also take it off and obviously put some dielectric grease or something in there, insulating grease. If everything looks okay under here, and if you have a scanner and it checked out, then it's time to check a few things under the hood. So there are a few things we can check underneath the hood, and we're going to start with the worst one first. And I'm just going to actually be able to show you where to check, because to actually do it, we have to remove this degas bottle. The air intake needs to come off. Typically this fuel injection control module right here would need to come off to get some clearance. And then where we're trying to get to, if I can zoom in, now that's a flashlight, don't worry about that, but where you see that silver insulating material kind of coned up there, that is the end of the injection pressure regulator sensor, the IPR sensor. So you would basically remove everything that we just discussed and check that connection for one thing, and then possibly have to replace that sensor, which I wouldn't do unless I was actually getting an error code that indicated that that's what you needed to do. So I'd save that one till last. We'll go ahead and look at the other items on the list. Second item that we're going to check is the fuel injection control module, or as it's referred to, the FICM. And you have, and this one's just been replaced a few months ago. Let's see if we can get some light here for us. Anyway, we've got 3 connectors underneath. So really, if you can just pull off this air intake going into your turbo inlet right here, you will be able to get your hands under here and feel on these 3 very large connectors if there's anything loose. And if your truck is actually having the problem, mine was intermittent, so it made it very hard to test anything. But if you are able to test it while you're having the problem, you can get in there and have someone press the pedal while you are moving the wires around on this FICM. Of course, with this degas bottle out of the way, it'd be easier to see, but we don't want to disassemble the truck today. But go ahead and check the connectors on that, because that will lead to a plethora of problems. Next area, we've got a couple of lights set up so we can see exactly what we're looking for, but it is going to be the exhaust back pressure sensor. So on my vehicle, which is a 2004, that's going to be located, you see we've got our dipstick right there for the engine oil, and that sensor right there is our exhaust back pressure sensor. So it's going to be running pretty much right in front of our dipstick. But you can see we've got a connector there. To really work on this, you're going to want to pull this pipe off with the, just got a couple of hose clamps holding it on. And then you can get in there. First of all, you can check the electrical connection that's on the sensor, make sure it is hooked up correctly and you don't have any damaged wires or anything like that. And then, as you can see, you can get a socket on there and take the sensor out and see if it needs to be cleaned. They do get soot and things inside them if they're old enough. So check that EBP sensor as well. The last area that we're going to check is going to be on the passenger side of the engine. And on my truck, this is what was actually causing the problem. And after spending all that money, fixed it in about 5 minutes. So on a 2004, at least, this is your ICP sensor, your injector control pressure sensor. So you've got this pipe here with it just put on, again, with a couple of hose clamps. You've always got to, seems like, take something off to get to anything on this truck. But obviously, you've just got a little simple electrical connector right there. What I ended up doing was just pulling this off, which easily unclips. Once you've got that unclipped, you can pull it off, see if you've got any corrosion or any damage. Sometimes this whole little pigtail of wires here will go bad. You have to replace this harness. On mine, I didn't have to do any of that. I just had to reseat it into the plug. It's easy to put on and off. Just get it lined up and click it on. That happened at 40,000 miles. We now have 130 something thousand miles on this truck, and I have never had that problem again. So I wish I had the confidence when I first bought this truck to be able to just kind of jump under the hood here and start troubleshooting these things, but with time comes experience, I guess. If you're having this no acceleration issue on your Powerstroke, go ahead and check these things. It doesn't cost anything, and it may get you back on the road with a cost-free fix. Thanks for watching.